I'm Dave, and this is Austin's Kamado Joe Masterclass.
Have you ever stood at the meat case staring at two packages of beef ribs, wondering which one to buy? One of these is called Dino ribs, and the other is what's left after the butcher takes the ribeye off the bone. They look completely different. Today I'm smoking both on the Kamado Joe, Dino ribs and back ribs. By the end of this video, you'll understand the difference and know how to make them. I bought these ribs at my local butcher, Texas Beef Traders, because they were twice the size of anything I could get at my market. Let's start with the anatomy. A steer has 13 ribs on each side. Those ribs get divided into three main sections. The chuck ribs are up front, the plate ribs in the middle of the belly, and the back ribs up top, sitting right under the ribeye. What most people call dino ribs or plank ribs are actually beef plate short ribs. They come from the lower portion of the rib cage, the plate section. 3, sometimes 4 big, thick bones with a heavy layer of meat sitting on top. That meat is well marbled, rich, and when it renders low and slow, it turns into something that makes you question why you ever cooked anything else. Back ribs are different. They come from the upper rib cage, the same area as the prime rib roast. In fact, that's exactly what they are, the bones left over after the butcher removes the ribeye roast. The meat on back ribs is between the bones, not on top of them. Plate ribs, the dino ribs, typically run $12 to $18 a pound depending on where you live and whether you're buying choice or prime. A 3-bone plate can easily cost you $40 to $50. Back ribs are usually $8 to $12 a pound. You can buy a full rack for $20 to $30. There's a reason for that price gap, and it comes down to one word: yield. Dino ribs are mostly meat. Back ribs are mostly bone with some meat in between the bones. When you consider just the actual meat, the price gap is actually very small. For the preparation, I'm removing the membrane off the back ribs, but not the plate ribs. The reason is that the membrane on the back ribs is thick and tough, and the membrane on the plate ribs is thin and actually holds them together as they cook. Watch my video on rib membrane removal tools for an easy way to remove these things. I'm using a coarsely ground black pepper and kosher salt rub on the plate ribs. For the back ribs, I'm using a rub that has salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, and onion powder. Back ribs don't have a lot of meat and fat, so they need a little bit of a flavor boost. One difference on the trim. Dino ribs usually have a thick fat cap on top. I trim it down part way and cook them fat side up so that the fat cap renders while cooking and baste the meat. Back ribs usually don't have that fat cap, so they go on as is. Both of these are cooking on the Kamado Joe at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm using the heat deflector plates for an indirect cook. I'm also using my fireboard temperature controller to maintain the ambient temperature inside my Kamado Joe and monitor the temperature inside the dino ribs. Just insert the probe into the meat of the largest rib. Here's an important tip. Make sure that the tip of the probe is in meat, not a fat pocket. The temperature of fat rises at a different rate than the temperature of meat. I've had these ribs take more than 11 hours because the tip of the temperature probe was in a fat pocket. That brings me to the second tip. Temperature is only a guide. They're done when they feel soft and pliable. Both racks are cooked bone side down to start. The dino ribs, or the plate ribs, are going to take anywhere from 6 to 8+ hours. They're thick, dense pieces of meat. You're looking for an internal temperature between 203 and 208 degrees Fahrenheit, and more importantly, you're looking for that probe tender feel. The temperature is a guide, but they're done when they're tender. Back ribs cook faster. They'll be done in about 5 hours. The meat between the bones is thin, so it renders and tenderizes more quickly. The same target around 203 degrees Fahrenheit. The meat between the bones should be probe tender. One more thing on the cook. I spray both ribs with a 50-50 mixture of apple cider vinegar and water every 30 minutes. It helps keep the surface from drying out, and it helps the smoke adhere. A light mist is all you need. At the end of the video, check out my new cookbook, The Texas Backyard Kitchen, Complete Meals from Fire to Table. It's part barbecue book for the Kamado Joe and part go-to cookbook for every other day of the week. A link is in the description and pinned comment. So, to wrap or not to wrap? That is the question. With dino ribs, I wrap at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. I use unlined pink butcher paper, not foil. Butcher paper lets the meat breathe while still pushing through the stall. Foil will make the bark soft. I wrap back ribs in heavy-duty foil. I think they need a little bit of that Texas crutch to get them to done. Before the wrap, both ribs get painted with a little beef tallow. It adds flavor and helps keep the ribs moist during that last part of the cook. All right, the back ribs came off after 5 hours. The Dino ribs were probe tender at 205 degrees Fahrenheit at 8.5 hours. Both get wrapped in butcher paper and a few bath towels and then rest in a cooler for 30 minutes. Don't skip the rest. The juices are still moving around, and if you cut too early, you're going to lose that all over your board instead of the meat. Okay, let's see what we've got. That right there is why they call them Dino ribs. A smoke ring that's deep, bark that's dark, thick meat. These are a meal by themselves. In fact, my wife and I split one rib. That's how big they are. The back ribs are completely different. There's a lot less meat, but it's incredibly tender and flavorful, thanks largely to the rub. So here's the summary. Flavor, Dino ribs win on pure beefy flavor. That thick marbling renders into the meat and gives you a richness that's unlike any other rib. You're biting into a substantial piece of meat with a crust on the outside and rendered fat running through every bite. It's a lot like biting into a perfectly cooked brisket point. Back ribs taste great too, but there's less fat to provide that deep beef flavor. Bark. That one goes to the back ribs. The back ribs have less meat, so the bark to meat ratio is higher. Every bite has bark on it. With Dino ribs, you get incredible bark on the surface, but there are bites in the middle that are just interior meat with no bark. Cost and yield. Back ribs are 20 to 30% less than Dino ribs, but Dino ribs win on yield. You're paying more per pound for Dino ribs, but you're eating more meat per pound. Back ribs are less expensive, but there's a lot more bone per pound. So which one should you buy? The honest answer is it depends. If you want to impress, if you want that jaw-dropping, Flintstone-sized bone on the plate, go with the Dino ribs. They are a showstopper, no doubt. If you just want great beef ribs, go with the back ribs. They take less time and they cost less. For me, the winner is the Dino ribs. There's just nothing else like it on the Kamado Joe. But I want to know what you think. Dino ribs or back ribs? Which one do you prefer? Drop that in the comments. I read every one. I invite you to check out my Kamado Joe Owner's Handbook. This is a 100-plus page book that I've written that covers everything that you need to know about operating the Kamado Joe. It includes setup, seasoning, temperature control, troubleshooting, maintenance, and a lot of other pro tips and techniques. Hey, if you liked the video, let me know and please subscribe and turn on notifications. And watch my Kamado Joe 101 playlist right now.